leader of the Jamaica Labour Party and Prime Minister Edward Seaga has blasted Prime Minister Bruce Golding and says it would be appropriate for him to resign. Mr. Seaga, who served as MP for West Kingston for 43 years, says this week's police military operation in Tivoli Gardens was totally unjustified. He was speaking with TVJ's Earl Moxham.
Mr. Seaga, can we start with your own characterization of what has happened in Tivoli in terms of the police military operations under the state of emergency?
As of today, the most important or the greatest difficulty that exists there is that the people are still in captivity and still cannot get out to buy food. And this is now going the third or fourth day. People in poor circumstances don't buy food for a week. They buy for 2 days because they don't have anywhere to put it, even if they have a little fridge is small, so that they have to go out and buy every couple of days. Now, those 2 days are gone, and the people are hungry and they can't get to buy any food. You have little children, you have babies, you have medication that have to be bought. When the previous episode in 2001 took place, 4 people died because they couldn't get the medication for diabetes, the insulin. Now, this is really a sad situation, and I cannot think of any reason that could cause the government to continue with this very, very wicked act, because I can't call it anything else. It is a wicked act to keep people in captivity like that, and they must let the people go.
How would you relate the ventures into Tivoli over the last day or two by bodies or persons respected by the public as persons who they would expect to do the right thing by the people?
Well, I think Bishop Blair's effort has been a failure. Bishop Blair believes he can give away a bag of food for freedom. Don't work that way. People want their freedom, not a bag of food. So I just discount him altogether. As far as the public defender is concerned, he's doing his job. How far can one man go? I don't know. I'm trying to get him now to find out what has he discovered in terms of the dumping of bodies in Maypen. Because holes are being dug there, bodies are being dumped there. When a mother, after being released, wants to know what has happened to her son, and her son is not at the arena where there are over 500 detainees, she has to assume that the son is among the many corpses. And he's not there. Where is he? He's in an unmarked grave, dumped into a hole in Maypen. What kind of country have we become? I've never heard of this. This is what used to happen under Pinochet in Chile. It happens in Africa. It happens in Latin America. It does not happen here. I don't understand it, and I've never known the Labour Party to adopt an approach and policy like this.
What have you been told by those who have been able to communicate with you in terms of their own understanding in terms of the number of deaths?
My source may be different from theirs, but my source is an underground source. And right in Tivoli, from the community center to industrial terrace, 100 odd people were killed, just in that section alone. The rest of Tivoli is not as active an area, was not as active an area, and I would say perhaps another 30. Denham Town is not counted in that, and that's perhaps another 30 or 40, I don't know. I can only judge by the number of calls that came into me, saying that they're shooting people and so on. But I would not be surprised if the total number of deaths do not range between 125 and 150. If you can account for them, because they're busy hiding the bodies by throwing them into holes.
All things considered, was the incursion necessary in the first place?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that's the unforgivable thing about it. The Prime Minister ought not to have interfered with the service of the war. Ought not to have interfered. That led to coke rejection of it. And that led to the need to go and get coke. And that led to the calling of the state of emergency and the sending of troops around there and all the atrocities that are taking place. These things were all unnecessary. He committed one of the biggest blunders in recent Jamaican history in taking that position.
Well, Prime Minister Golding, in defending the action in Parliament, explaining why the Manat Phelps route was taken, he referenced you and an attempt to discredit you in the 1980s and the pushback against that as something of a precedence for the action taken in this regard.
In what respect?
Using the law firm, the lobbyists, to lobby to somehow going through the party to see whether the situation could be ameliorated.
My friend, we all use lobbyists. That's what they're there for. It's a standard practice. Sometimes if you know people well enough, you can get the assistance, the clarification, the help that you need without having to go through a lobbyist. The government chose to go through the lobbyists. The fact that we had a lobbyist at one time was for general purposes, CBI and things like that, not for this wickedness. So you can't use the precedence that was there for a lobby on hand, retained in case we need to have a lobbyist to find out certain things and to clarify certain things. That's an entirely different thing.
Do you agree with those who say that this has been a failure of moral leadership on the part of the Prime Minister?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have never known a Prime Minister to display such a lack of moral rectitude.
In that case, would it be justified then that he should resign?
Quite frankly, that is my view. That is my view, because he's showing day by day that he cannot cope. My understanding is that he is trying to get the military to back off. The Prime Minister of Jamaica, who in the law is the final word and the final authority on the actions of the military, is trying to get them to back off. So if he can't get them to back off, who is the higher authority? The military? We are then a military government.